Okay, if only baby oil were a controlled substance, this is such a Friday night show, the feds could have put Diddy away for life on that alone. But instead, that is the single most talked about and legal ingredient of Diddy's allegedly illegal enterprise. And tonight we can finally do more than just talk about it. Tonight we can actually see with our own eyes what the feds saw with their own eyes when they raided his $61 million LA mansion back in March of last year. Yes, $61 million mansion. I remember the real estate porn alone. Like, yeah, Diddy's being arrested, but look at that house. I couldn't take my eyes off these chopper shots. It looks like Versailles in the back. Look at it. But then you got like SWAT agents walking around like heavily armed and like Kevlar. And I'm like, man, who lives like that? Look at the garden. And then I'm remembering, oh, dang, that's Diddy's place, and they're there to raid it because of that whole lawsuit, you know, that Cassie launched and all the allegations in it. Again, the gardens. Wow. Anyway, that happened 6 months before he was arrested. And the prosecutors in New York just released a trove of all the photos that they got inside that door. Take a left, take a right, take a left, take a right, and take the pictures. I know it is late, but if you are still at work right now and you're watching, I urge you to turn down the volume or get some headphones, because I'm about to discuss this stuff. Among the items seized, high-powered rifles, pump-action shotguns, multiple bags of illicit and illegal drugs, and most stunning of all, the sex pantry. Although pantry does not do this justice. There were 200 bottles of baby oil and 900 bottles of Astroglide. Many of them neatly lined up in cabinets and stashed beautifully on shelves. Like, look at this. Tucked neatly into little boxes and properly arranged and stacked all the way to the ceiling. Imagine if you're an agent coming upon this and saying, what the? Because a special agent, or should I say an understated special agent, testified last week saying the stockpile was, quote, overwhelming. And the same day that agents moved in on Diddy's LA mansion, a different team of federal agents moved in on his Miami mansion. And that is where today's star witness comes in. This guy, who probably wishes he'd brushed his hair before the mugshot. His name is Brendan Paul, kind of baby-faced, 26 years old and from Ohio. He was a former walk-on for Syracuse University's D1 basketball team. Breaks my heart, because my staff member sitting right there is Syracuse, and my kid goes there. But that kid left Syracuse, a star, and then spent 18 months as one of Diddy's gophers. His employment, however, ended the day of the raids when he was arrested at a private airport in South Florida, carrying 3/4 of a gram of cocaine in his travel bag. This was the body cam shot. One he really probably wishes could have just gone away because, ugh, yuck. That's gonna leave a mark. That kid was planning to fly from Miami to the Bahamas along with Diddy and Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram. So yeah, with the big boss and the big boss's secondhand man, lady. But ultimately, the media dubbed Brendan Paul Diddy's drug mule because of that cocaine in the expensive designer Goyard travel bag. However, the charges against Brendan Paul were later dropped. He said, I had a good lawyer. And today, testifying under immunity, he admitted to sourcing and buying Diddy's cocaine for him, along with his ecstasy, his weed, his pink ketamine, known as 2C, and his ketamine lollipops called K-Pops. But a drug mule? Nope, absolutely not, he said. He said the coke that he was busted with came from a post-freak-off sweep of Diddy's hotel room. Brendan Paul said he stashed it in the designer bag and then forgot to take it out before flying. Oops. Do not ask me why he lied to the police and said that the drugs were his, but he did. And then he told the court it was because of loyalty. Asked how he feels about his former boss today, and Paul had one word, and the answer was complicated. And I just want to tell my staff right now, sitting off, you will never be asked to do this stuff for me. Just know it. Everybody behind the camera, in the control room. I would never ask you to stash cocaine in a Goyard designer handbag. I cannot afford that damn handbag because I found out it's almost $6,000. But I couldn't think of a better word to sum up this whole nasty business, nor a better guest to talk me through this case against Diddy. Touré has spent more than 30 years covering the music industry for Rolling Stone, The New Yorker, The New York Times, Vibe, and many more. He has interviewed the biggest movers and shakers, including Diddy, many times. And lately, he's been giving the Diddy trial the Touré treatment on TikTok. Welcome to the program. I've been waiting for the moment that you and I would finally be on camera again together. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I've missed you, Touré, especially during this stuff, because I feel like you're the definitive voice on this. Give me your Touré summary of everything that we've had in like the last 6 weeks.
In the last 6 weeks, my God, I mean, the government is trying to make the case that Diddy is running a criminal enterprise. I think they're making it. I'm curious to know what you think about the big charge. I think they are showing that he is trapping Cassie through the record deal first, and also through the blackmail, the videos, and also through the violence. And there's another tack of the control that I'm forgetting right this second, because there's so many tentacles of controlling Cassie, but also having a corporation at his control and having assistants who will set up freak-offs, bodyguards who will physically bring her back. The bodyguards in these stories are never in a defensive position. They are only referred to in offensive positions. Go get Cassie. Go get Kid Cudi, right? Go attack this person. So the bodyguards that will bring her back, Christina Karam, who will help make a problem go away. He has employees who are working to help him do the freak-offs, which is Cassie trapped. And then later, I mean, we could argue about whether or not Jane is trapped. And I think a lot of people have said she's not nearly as trapped as Cassie, and that's true. And I wonder if maybe Jane should have been a defense witness instead of a prosecution witness, but Cassie was trapped. Violence, blackmail. Yeah. We see all sorts of predicate crimes going on around her. I think they make that case. A lot of people smarter than me who know more about the law than me are saying they don't see it. Do you see racketeering being proven by the government?
I'm going to tell you something. I will tell you something. I think that people nowadays have short memories for Harvey Weinstein, for Epstein, for Peter Nygard, all these extraordinarily rich, powerful men who use enterprise of theirs, all their assets and their money and their power, fame, to get what they want. It's not commercial sex trafficking. They're not making money off it, but it is elite sex trafficking. They're getting what they want. They're getting the women. They're getting the sex. And so I think that the public doesn't really see that, but that is sex trafficking, whether you see it or not. That is sex trafficking. And it was with R. Kelly, too.
Well, the R. Kelly case, to me, really suggests that it's not going to work out for Diddy, because the government is doing a lot of the same things again, showing a pattern, showing how he uses his business to control the women, using multiple witnesses from his business against him. And you know what's crazy is the Diddy defense is pretty much doing the same thing that the R. Kelly defense did. They're trying to say this was consensual. I don't know how you can argue that this was consensual. And even if they could show, well, she liked it here, here, and here, even if you accept that, in which I don't think you can really truly get to Cassie saying she really wanted to do it. I think she's mimicking what her captor is saying, what he wants her to say. But if she says yes 5 times and then is like, no, that's right. That's the R word, right?
Yeah. That's kind of the ball of wax, right? Like and I think that the prosecutors, and again, the public isn't following every single day, but if you look at what the prosecutors set up, they said, here are all the times when she was in love with him and thought this is what he wanted, and it was all fun and exciting, I guess, to be a part of it. And then she began to feel as though this ain't right. I don't like it. I'm starting to feel like you're using me as a prostitute. And those are the moments that I think the prosecutors are going to, in summation, say, you can be willing in one episode and unwilling in the other, and the law is broken. Let me ask you something, though, about your background, because
wait,
you're that person who has...
She said,
Go ahead.
Cassie said on the stand, I was a sex worker. And the defense objected and the judge upheld that. But that's what she feels.
Yeah.
Right? That she was held in reserve for sex for him, as Jane would be later. And Jane makes a similar comment about feeling like a sex worker. I feel like they're not really girlfriends, they're live-in sex workers.
Right. And Cassie even admitted, I was into it. In the beginning, I was. And then I did it just not to be beaten. You know, I didn't want to raise the hackles and the ire. So I set things up, and I didn't like some of those sex workers, so I set it up to get the ones at least I was comfortable with. So it will be a gray area, but I think in summation, if they can say, you can be into it one day and not into it another day, and that day you're not into it counts. But I want to ask you about your background, because if there's one person I would turn to about the industry, not just the hip-hop industry, but the music industry, it's you. And I wanted to get your take on whether what we're watching today and what we saw in R. Kelly, is this a hip-hop problem, or are we just seeing it in these cases? And it is way bigger, and like, hold your horses and pop your popcorn, because these cases are going to keep coming.
Well, I mean, we just saw, I think today, an explosive lawsuit filed against Fat Joe, which alleges him having relationships with multiple girls who are teenagers, and having his hype man have sex with women in front of Joe and other people as he's orchestrating, watching, and recording 4,000 times. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of shit there's a lot of stuff going on out here, Ashleigh. I don't think this is a hip hop problem. I think it's a music entertainment problem, in that artists are allowed any excess. They can do whatever they want to do. We see creative executives trying to carve out that same stuff for them. And you have this massive power imbalance as far as if you're a star or you're an executive, from Diddy to L.A. Reid, who his civil trial is going to happen in September. You have a massive power imbalance versus the people who are around you, all the people who want to be in the industry and want to be around you because you may be able to lift them up. And also, we're in a 24-hour party environment. This is an industry that happens and operates a lot at night. We're selling fun. You know, we're supposed to be interesting. Drugs are common. Guns are common. A lot of the sort of excesses of living a wild life are common. And as I said, we have all these younger people who are dying to be in the industry, who are like, I will do anything to be at the circus. And people who are like, well, you said anything, so let's see how far that would go. And it seems like, talking to people who are victimized by Puff, that's how it would be, that he would take a little bit, take a little more, take a little more, see how far you go. Are you willing to take a drink when I say take a drink? Are you okay when I touch your butt? Are you okay when I touch your chest? Are you okay when I try to kiss you? Okay, and he's grooming you. And then next thing you know, I mean, Lil Rod talks about this. Next thing you know, you take a drink and you wake up the next morning and you're like, I don't know what happened, but I know how I feel down there. And I know what happened. And but I can't prove it.
How about the testimony where Cassie was told, stand up, walk over here, sit down, stand up, move along, and telling the rest of the staff, that's how I want you to behave, like a lap dog. And he literally, according to Cassie, treated her like a lap dog to show the other employees, this is how I want my staff to behave. That broke my heart. If it's true, his legacy is shot no matter what. Could you tell me something? We just ran a banner a hot minute ago that you had a run-in with Diddy at one of these white parties. I wanted you to sort of share what happened and what that was all about.
How much time do you have? I mean, it's not a short story, but I can try to truncate it a little bit. I mean, I was writing for Rolling Stone. He had a line in a song called Bad Boys for Life where he said, don't worry if I write rhymes, I write checks. I'm a hip hop purist, actually. I go back to day one, 1979, Rapper's Delight. I'm like, we write our rhymes. That is critical to being a rapper. We don't brag about not writing. Like, what are you talking about? So I wrote in Rolling Stone that was whack. And I was offended as a purist that he had said that. He called me and he was very upset. And first he kind of was begging me to take it out of the magazine. And I'm like, there's no way that that is happening. And then he starts ramping up to screaming at me. And like the energy and the anger is really coming through the phone. And he's saying things like, I'll end your career. And like, I'm in media, you're in the industry. Like, I don't know how you would even do that, but like, whatever. So he's screaming, screaming. And then he sort of comes down and I'm like, he's really, really angry. And then he starts begging again. I'm like, no. So now I was kind of young and dumb. I'm in my 20s at this point, and I had been to other Puff parties. I had talked with him many occasions. So, him screaming at me like that was not necessarily like, oh, our relationship is fried. So a couple weeks later, I get an invitation to this white party in the Hamptons. And I'm like, oh, like, that's behind us. Or like, I stood up to him and he respected me and I invited me to another party. Like, cool, whatever. And, you get to the party and there's these Victoria's Secret models in lingerie and angel wings handing you champagne saying like, welcome to heaven. And I get inside, everybody's wearing all white. Actually, it was not celebrity filled. It was the same Black and brown people I'm hanging out at the clubs in New York, and Two Eyes and Nels, but now we're in the Hamptons with Puff, whatever. So Andre Harrell, who was like his second father, who was a friend of mine, the late Andre Harrell, tells me, and this was good advice, watch out for the pop brownies. But as I said, I was young and dumb, and I was like, move aside, old man, I smoke a blunt a day. And that's a lie, because I smoke more than that. I gobbled down 2 pop brownies real quick, and next thing you know, I was a zombie. And like, the brain is working, but the mouth is not working at all. And I sit down to try to like get myself together, and Puff comes over and sits right next to me. And J-Lo was just beginning to be his girlfriend then. And she's sitting right next to him. And he's dressing me down. How could you do that to me? How could you write that about me? And the mind is working, but the mouth is not working. So I'm not able to say anything back. And J-Lo is sitting beside him. She didn't say anything, but the vibe is like, yeah, what he said. Yeah, I'm like, I don't need you in this at all, right? And he could have embarrassed me, but he didn't. It was a private conversation. I was not happy with that, whatever. And he let me know, and he kind of probably cursed me out a little bit. But it was just between us. And then he left, and I didn't have to leave. He didn't kick me out or anything. And I stayed at the party for another couple hours, drank his liquor some more. And then we went when the sun went down and nothing happened. And all the millennials and Zoomers in my comments are like, you've been to white parties. Yes, I have. Many of us had. Nothing happened.
Yeah, but what I can see is that he's got the king complex where he can't let it go. He doesn't want the criticism, and he's going to let everybody know around it. Listen, there's more coverage on this coming, Touré. I got to have you back because we got, likely the defense case is going to start next week. They might have the verdict, or they might have the case in their hands to deliberate by Friday. Can you come back?
Maybe. I don't know. I got to talk to you later. This is very late for my family, for me to be on TV at this time. So I don't know. This is hard.
Oh, come on. I do it every night, Touré. I appreciate this.
I know, but I'm at home. I'm in my house. Your lovely partner is sleeping. My partner is like, can you be quiet?
Well, I appreciate this. Thank you so much. I hope we can talk again. Thanks, Touré.
Always happy to talk to you.
And you can hear more from Touré on his TikTok, Touré Show. His YouTube is at TouréTube, and his Substack is Culture Fries.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.